Welcome to the second Team T1 Health Professional webinar. This presentation is designed to assist you to support participants in their efforts to apply the Team T1 principles in the management of their diabetes. My name is Eileen Collins and I'm a credentialed diabetes educator from Team T1. After watching this webinar, it is anticipated that health professionals will have revised the key principles of Team T1. It is expected that this will assist you to support Team T1 graduates with pattern analysis and insulin dose adjustment according to the stepwise approach. The first step, and one of the key skills taught in the target practice sessions, is pattern analysis. Participants will be able to see that they need a well filled out blood glucose diary in order to be able to see patterns in their blood glucose levels. In this example, we can clearly see a pattern that they are above target before bed. This is easy to identify because the blood glucose levels are recorded and the correction doses are clearly shown. Using the previous example, let's work through the stepwise approach. Identify the problem, blood glucose before dinner is above target. Exclude all possible causes. No other causes are known at this point. Wait 24 to 48 hours. The pattern has already been established in this case for at least 24 hours. Which insulin is responsible? Either the dinner bolus insulin or could it be the basal is running out? Adjust the dose. The decision's made to increase the dinner ratio by half a ratio to 1.5 to 1. We would then continue to review to see if this change has been effective. Let's try a case study. Have a look at this diary example and see if you can see any issues. Identify the problem. Which blood glucose level is out of target? Let's look back at the diary. Remember, target blood glucose levels should be between 4 and 8. So you can see here that before breakfast blood glucose levels and the 3am blood glucose level are all above target. Now we go to step 2 and 3. Exclude all possible causes and wait 24 to 48 hours. Before adjusting insulin, always exclude any possible causes. Is it an overnight hypo? Well, this seems unlikely as we have a 3am blood glucose check showing that they're above target then. What about pre-breakfast exercise? Always ask because people often forget to record some of their details, and although it's not recorded, doesn't mean it's not the cause. The last bolus given at dinner time has run out, so only the basal is working at this time, and we have already waited 48 hours and established a pattern. So we can go ahead. So then we need to determine which insulin is responsible. So at this time the bolus will have run out and only the evening basal will be working at this time. So that's easy to identify the cause in this instance. So then we need to adjust the relevant insulin dose. And so we will adjust the basal insulin dose by 1 to 2 units or 10 to 20%. And remember, only change one insulin at a time. So we're going to increase the basal insulin by 1 to 2 units or 10 to 20%. And you'll note we haven't adjusted the mealtime ratios. And then the final step is to review the changes that have been made in order to see if it's been effective. So we've checked the overnight blood glucose level and before breakfast, and we've seen they're back within target. So we can see that the increased basal dose has kept blood glucose levels in target overnight, hence the change seems to have been effective.
The following role play demonstrates how a target practice may be facilitated in Team T1. Tuesday morning and a target practice has just begun.
Is there anyone here who's prepared to put their blood glucose levels up?
I will.
Thanks, Jade. Firstly, you've done a great job doing all these blood glucose measurements. There's a lot of useful information up here. Could you please talk us through the last couple of days? Firstly, could you tell us what your ratios are?
My breakfast ratio is 3-1, lunch 2-1, and dinner 2-1.
Great. What basal do you take and when?
Do you mean Levemir? I take 14 with breakfast and dinner.
And how do you think things are going?
I'm not too sure. They're not too bad, but I'm high at dinner time.
Yes, you are above target at dinner time. What do you think may have caused that?
Well, I was starving yesterday, and I had a couple of snacks after school.
I can see that. Thanks so much for recording it all in your diary. Do you think the snacks may have accounted for your above target dinner time blood glucose? Let's review your carb counting with the dietitian.
Can you tell us what you ate after you came home from school?
At about 3:30 I had a banana.
And how many carbs do you think were in the banana? How big was it?
It was pretty small. I thought about one exchange.
Okay, does everyone agree with Jade's estimate for a banana?
Yeah.
Then what else did you have?
About half an hour later I had a tub of strawberry yogurt.
And how did you work out the carbs in your yogurt? Did you look at the label?
Yeah, I just had a look on the back of the tub and it said that a serve had about 29 gram carbs.
Great, Jade. Did you eat all of it?
Yeah.
Okay, so about 29 grams of carbs, or about 2 exchanges. So, can anyone remember the Team T1 guidelines about how much a carbohydrate exchange can raise blood glucose levels?
Isn't it one so you can put your blood glucose levels up by 2 to 3?
Yes, Sarah. So Jade has about 3 exchanges after school. How many millimoles could this increase her blood glucose level by?
6 to 9?
So Jade, do you think this could be the reason why your blood glucose level is above target at dinner time?
Maybe, but I took extra with my dinner.
I can see you took a correction dose. Good job. What else could you have done?
I don't know.
Can anyone else suggest anything?
You could take extra insulin with your snacks. That's what I do if I want to eat a lot, like after school.
How do you feel about that, Jade?
I don't know. Maybe.
Okay, well, why don't you think about what you would like to do after school today and see what you want to do then. Thanks, Jade.
The next participant shares his results in the target practice session.
Who's happy to go next?
I'll go next.
Thanks, Luke. Could you please tell us your ratios?
I'm on a 2-to-1 ratio all day and I take Lantus 30 at bedtime.
Thanks. How's it going?
Okay, except I'm always high at lunchtime.
Why do you think that's happening?
I'm not sure, maybe because I always have a big morning tea.
What do other people think?
You always take Novo Rapid with morning tea though. You take a lot of extra stuff as well.
Yeah, I don't know, it's really annoying, but it seems like it's not worth having the extra shot.
It is frustrating when your blood glucose levels are out of target despite you making a lot of effort. Does anyone else have any ideas?
Are you counting all your carbs?
The dietitian just checked my carb counting and it was pretty good, I think.
Yes, you're doing a great job, Luke. What else might cause your blood glucose levels to be above target at lunch?
Maybe you haven't got the right ratio at breakfast.
What do you think, Luke?
Yeah, maybe, I'm not sure.
Let's have a look at the stepwise approach. Can someone read the first step?
Identify the problem. Which blood glucose is out of target? 4 to 8.
So, have we done that?
Yeah, it's the lunchtime one.
Sarah, can you read the next step?
Exclude all possible causes. Carb miscalculation, ate snack without bolus, exercise, over-treated hypo, under or over-contracted BGL.
Do any of these apply, Luke?
Nah, I haven't had hypo for a few days. I don't think exercise is the problem either.
The next step.
Wait 24 to 48 hours. They've been high at lunchtime since Monday, so you've done that.
Okay, Jade, can you read the next step, please?
Which insulin is responsible? Consider onset, peak and duration of insulins. Is it bolus or basal insulin? What ratios are being used? What is the basal dose?
What do people think?
I think my Lantus is okay because there isn't much difference between my bedtime and morning levels, so I'm not dropping overnight.
I reckon it's the morning Nova Rapid. You are the 2-to-1 ratio then. I'm on 3-to-1. Maybe you need more Rapid in the morning.
Yeah, maybe. That makes sense. Should I go to a 3-to-1 ratio as well then?
What do you think?
I guess so.
How about we have another look at the stepwise approach chart? Can you read the next step?
Adjust the relevant insulin dose. Make changes one at a time. Basal insulin by 1 to 2 units. Change insulin carbohydrate rate by half a ratio. So I should go up by half a ratio instead of 2-to-1. And I'll take 2.5 to 1.
What do people think?
Yeah, increase by half a ratio. But only the breakfast dose because you can only change one at a time.
Fantastic. And what's the last step?
Review. Continue to monitor and record readings to check the adjustment has been effective.
Okay, Luke, so tell me, what do you plan to do with your insulin doses and how will you know if it's working?
Tomorrow morning at breakfast, I'm going to increase my breakfast, Nova Rapid, from 2 to 1. I'm going to take 2.5 to 1 and I'm going to keep checking my blood glucose levels to see if they get better.
Great. Thanks, Luke. Okay, next. Luke puts up his blood.
Luke has his results displayed on the OHP. He has just finished reviewing his carbs with the dietitian.
So tell us what happened since you left here yesterday.
I went for a bike ride with some mates and it ended up being a bit more energetic than I thought.
Did you plan on going bike riding?
Yeah, I met some mates. I had afternoon tea at 4 p.m. and my blood glucose was at 8.2. I was happy with that because I like to be above 7 or 8 when I do exercise. I had 2 CEs, but I only took enough insulin for 1 CE and I didn't do a correction.
What else did you do yesterday that might have affected your blood glucose levels?
Do you mean laser tag? Yeah, we did that, but I wasn't very energetic, and we cut my correction down at lunchtime to account for that.
How do you think that worked?
It worked well. You didn't have a hypo, Luke.
Yeah, I suppose. I had a hypo later after dinner though. Although I think that was caused by the bike ride.
How did you treat that?
Had some Coke and then I had a banana.
Did you do anything else?
What do you mean?
What does Team T1 say about managing a hypo? Let's have a look at the hypo chart.
I know, I didn't recheck after 15 minutes. I will next time.
Okay, great. Does everyone know why it's important to recheck after 15 minutes?
Yeah, to check it's going up and to see if you need any more fast carbs.
Fantastic. Okay, what else happened since yesterday?
Well, I changed my breakfast ratio. I upped it by half to 2.5 to 1. And look, I'm not high. I'm in target.
Well done. That's great. How does that make you feel, Luke?
Awesome. It's great.
In this session, we have revised the Team T1 principles in the target practice session of the Team T1 program. Facilitating the target practice session in an open, non-judgmental manner, encouraging participants to share their experiences, is a wonderful opportunity for teens to practice and learn insulin adjustment. When you're facilitating, remember to try and get everyone involved. Encourage their efforts and changes rather than the blood glucose level. Have them tell you about the diary. And remember, try and keep the language non-judgmental, using terms such as below and above target. All in all, our participants are going to really get a lot out of the program, and they all learn a lot out of the target practice session. Thanks for participating.